Welcome to Old Dog New Tricks. Today we are going to be working on the laser engraver. We are going to make a nativity Christmas tree ornament.
These ornaments require several steps. We will start on the computer, that is where the design starts. Then we send it to the laser to be cut out. Then we take it from the laser and carefully take the pieces and lay them out to be glued together. Last step is to put the ribbon on it to hold it on the tree.
Here we are using xTool Studio. It is a very good intuitive software that makes this a whole lot easier. This is the design plans for the ornament. The material I am using to make these is big enough to create 2 ornaments from a single piece of wood. First, I set the material I'm using. It is 3mm basswood plywood. Then I need to set the distance from the laser to the material. I just click the button to have it check the distance. Watch the red mark on the screen. That is the position of the laser head on the engraver. Now I need to set the framing or the work area. In this case, I'm using rectangular shaped wood. You will notice a box being created on the screen. That is the framing area of the project. Now we are at the laser. We will position the laser head. So this red cross is at the diagonally opposite corners. First the top corner, then the bottom corner. When the red cross is where I want it, I push the button on the front of the machine, and that sets the framing for the project. Then back to the computer. Ideally, you would have the computer and the laser right next to each other. But I have my computer in my office and the engraver in the garage venting to the outside. I have a full wood shop in my garage, so it is not somewhere I want my computer living. What I'm doing here is making sure everything is lined up with the framing. Everything being engraved, cut, or scored has to be within the framing box. Now I'm double checking the settings. With this project, the power has to be enough to cut all the way through the wood. Since I'm using plywood, this can be a little tricky, because there are glue spots that requires a little more power to cut through. You may need to set it to do more than one pass to ensure you cut all the way through. It's very easy to break smaller pieces trying to free them from wood that is not cut all the way through. If it is just a small section that isn't cut through, I will use an X-Acto to finish the cut. Once you move the piece in the engraver, it is virtually impossible to get it back in place to run another cut. Here I'm setting this to make 2 passes, to ensure it cuts through. One last double check before I submit it to process. The software has a feature that allows me to preview the project. I can see what is being cut. You do not have to preview it, but with cuts like this I recommend it. This feature is still in beta, so there's a chance of error with it. When I'm comfortable that everything is set correctly, I send it to process, then it's out to the laser to have it start cutting. Pay attention to this warning. Some of the items you engrave or cut have a risk of fire. Don't leave the engraver unattended when it is working. I just submitted the job to run now. It will not start on the laser until I push the button to start on the machine. I just push the start button, and you can see the laser head comes to life and starts doing its thing. I jumped ahead, so you don't have to watch the laser move around. That would make for a much longer video. It's done cutting out the pieces. Before I move anything, I am pushing on the different pieces to make sure they are cut all the way through. If I move the material out of the laser, There is no way I would be able to get it back in place to have it run again. Once I'm sure everything is cut through, I will lift it out and clean up all the little pieces. Then we take the parts of the ornament to where I can clean it up. Then dry fit it to make sure everything is right. Then I will glue it together. See, all those little scrap pieces, I don't want them to become fire hazards in the machine. So I clean them all out and dispose of them. Here they are all glued up and ready to sell or give as gifts. I can already hear the next question. How much do you sell them for? Well, that depends on where you are selling them and who you are selling them to. I sold them at my last fair for $5 a piece. I'm also making them to give as neighbor gifts. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe to see more tricks this old dog learns.